Coming up on Chapman News, the very latest on the coronavirus outbreak, record lows on Wall Street, Trump's response, and the first community transmitted case right here in California.
Do or die in the race for president. Who will survive South Carolina and Super Tuesday?
And as Harvey Weinstein is off to jail, is it a new era for victims of sexual assault? All that and more this week on Chapman News.
From Dodge College of Film and Media Arts, this is Chapman News.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Kim Becker.
And I'm Anna Montemore, and welcome back to another episode of Chapman News.
We begin today with the latest updates on the coronavirus. Worldwide jitters as the stock market continues to plummet. Investors fearing the worldwide economic impact of the virus. Today, the Dow Jones opened 1,000 points down with total losses this week of over 13%. Markets are on their way to having their worst week since the 2008 financial crisis, putting all economic indicators in what is called a correction mode.
And Washington lawmakers are racing this morning to reach an agreement on an emergency spending bill to help fight the virus. Negotiators are saying that they need between $6 and $8 billion, contradicting the $2.5 billion proposed by the White House earlier this week. Trump placed Vice President Mike Pence in charge of the administration's response moving forward. Pence calling for bipartisanship efforts to battle the virus and reassures that we are ready for anything.
And back on the West Coast, the first patient to contract coronavirus after a community transmission is being hospitalized at the UC Davis Medical Center in Northern California. The patient is the first in the U.S. to contract the virus without travel to a country hit with the outbreak and who did not have direct contact with anyone known to have the virus. This worrying health officials that coronavirus may begin spreading through communities in the United States.
And here in Orange County, a local health emergency declared in response to the virus. The decision, a result of an ongoing battle between the city of Costa Mesa and the state.
We have Gianna Gravelisi live in Costa Mesa, where residents are trying to keep patients with the virus out of their city. Gianna, how are we looking over there?
I'm here at Fairview Development Center, which was once used to house adults with disabilities back when it opened in the 50s. Now, the government is pushing to house 30 to 50 patients infected with the coronavirus right here. The city obtained a temporary restraining order against the transportation plan as the Orange County Board of Supervisors voted unanimously to support the city of Costa Mesa.
That's been actually used by children during the weekend, and they play soccer games. We have Section 8 housing there, and nearby there's a senior citizen homes and then assisted living homes.
For now, the state of California is waiting for answers from the government, such as how the patients will be treated and the level of care that they would need.
So, Gianna, we know that Orange County declared a state of emergency, but what exactly does that mean?
Well, Kim, a lot of people think that means that the virus is already here. But what it actually means is that the county would be able to obtain the resources that they would need just in case of an emergency.
Thanks, Gianna. Chapman students are feeling the impacts of the global outbreak as well, as the students abroad with Chapman's Semester at Sea program have been denied entry to ports off the coast of East Africa. The program also chose not to make stops in Malaysia and India due to growing concerns with the spread of the virus. Students studying in Japan and Italy have been given the option to continue the program, return to campus, or take a leave of absence.
And there have been more than 82,000 cases worldwide and 2,800 deaths, most in mainland China. The CDC recommends that hand washing and simple hygiene is the best way to protect yourself from the virus.
And a big win for President Trump. In a unanimous decision, the Second Circuit Court ruled that the Trump administration can withhold funds from law enforcement agencies of sanctuary cities. California will be one of the hardest hit by this ruling due to its status as a sanctuary state. This is hardly the end of the fight, with many expecting this to end up at the Supreme Court.
The next few days here could be crucial in the race for the Democratic nomination for president. With more from Washington and the campaign trail, we have our political producer, Michael Karabit, in studio. Michael?
Thanks, Anna. Critics of the 10th Democratic debate on Tuesday night have called it a free-for-all. Candidates talked over each other, ignored time cues, and many say the moderators failed to keep the candidates in line. And current frontrunner Bernie Sanders got burned left and right by his opponents.
Bernie and I agree on a lot of things, but I think I would make a better president.
Bernie, in fact, hasn't passed much of anything.
Imagine spending the better part of 2020 with Bernie Sanders versus Donald Trump.
I'm hearing my name mentioned a little bit tonight.
Sanders' opponents attacked him for a 60 Minutes appearance this week where he repeated controversial comments from the 1980s. Sanders praised Fidel Castro's regime in Cuba for its literacy program. Sanders won the Nevada caucus with the support of Latino voters, but with nearly 2 million Cuban Americans living in the United States, his comments could have a negative effect.
Educated their kids, gave them health care, totally transformed the society.
We're very opposed to the authoritarian nature of Cuba. But it's unfair to simply say everything is bad. I have condemned authoritarianism, whether it is the people in Saudi Arabia that the United States government has
Cuba,
loved
Nicaragua?
for years. Cuba, Nicaragua. Authoritarianism of any stripe is bad.
Sanders is also being questioned after new intelligence reports that Russia is interfering in the 2020 election to benefit both him and President Trump. After the last debate, Mike Bloomberg took a more aggressive stance against Sanders.
Vladimir Putin thinks that Donald Trump should be president of the United States, and that's why Russia is helping you get elected so you'll lose to him.
But despite his quick attacks, critics still say Bloomberg is attempting to buy the presidential election. Sanders, whose campaign is seated on grassroots support, used Bloomberg as an example of wealth inequality.
The economy is doing really great for people like Mr. Bloomberg and other billionaires. Mayor Bloomberg has a solid and strong and enthusiastic base of support. Problem is, they're all billionaires. Now, if you
The next test for the candidates comes tomorrow with the South Carolina primary. For months, Joe Biden has been considered the frontrunner in the state, but Sanders has been gaining momentum across the country. But right after South Carolina comes Super Tuesday, where 14 states will split more than 1,300 delegates. Many Chapman students will be voting in their first presidential election, but does everyone know about the primary? Kim Becker has the story on what makes Tuesday's election so important.
This year, California is voting on Super Tuesday. Now, what the heck does that mean for you? Well, if you're anything like me, you have no idea what Super Tuesday is. Do you know what Super Tuesday is?
No idea, sorry.
No.
No.
I'm just gonna say I feel so much better about my life. Do you like politics?
Yeah.
So Super Tuesday doesn't ring a bell by any means.
Actually, it does a little now that you say politics.
We got
I
it.
just needed a bit of a reminder, and then I was getting some.
Chapman students have the smarts. All right, hun, do you know what Super Tuesday is?
It's when one of the states has their election.
Turns out I'm not the only one who's confused about Super Tuesday, so I did some research. Super Tuesday is on March 3rd and is the day that the most primaries and caucuses are held in the United States. California usually votes in June, but this year, the primary is happening at the same time as 13 other states. In order to be the Democratic nominee, each candidate has to achieve a certain number of delegates. The first candidate to reach 1,991 delegates, the majority, wins the nomination. So Super Tuesday is super important. However, there is still a long way to go, considering the frontrunner Bernie Sanders only has 43 delegates. By moving up the primary dates, your votes matter more than ever. On Super Tuesday, 30% of the delegates awarded to candidates will come from California alone. For reference, the Nevada caucus had 36 delegates. In California, there are 416. So if the question still lingers if your vote matters, the answer is yes. Your vote has the potential to shake up the entire election. If you haven't registered to vote in California, fear not. Stop by the voting center on campus in the Argyros Forum, room 119, until Tuesday to register.
No matter your party preference, make sure to cast your votes in time because Tuesday's election is going to be super. Thanks, and back to you.
Thanks, Michael. Tensions are high in New Delhi, India, as riots erupt, leaving 38 dead and over 200 injured. This week's riots are a continuation of protests against a controversial citizenship law which excludes Muslim migrants from a fast track to citizenship. Local politician Kapil Mishra stoked the flames when he issued an ultimatum to police: clear out the protesters or he and his followers would do it themselves. The riots began on Sunday, all of this while President Trump was making a visit to the city. The violence is the worst the country has seen in decades.
At least 33 Turkish soldiers are dead and more than 30 are injured after an airstrike in northern Syria. Turkish officials have stated that the strike was carried out by Syrian government forces, although some in Turkey are blaming Russia for the attack. Also in Syria, the humanitarian crisis reaches horrifying new levels for millions of refugees escaping the 9-year war. In rural countrysides near the border of Turkey, temperatures have dropped to painfully cold conditions, with some reports of children freezing to death. With continuing escalation of violence between Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and rebel groups, the most vulnerable are caught between the crosshairs without shelter. The U.S. military has stated that they will not be being involved in the escalating conflict. And coming up on Chapman News, landmark case for the Me Too movement. We take a closer look at the Weinstein verdict.
And a tribute to a legend, a report from the memorial for Kobe and Gianna Bryant.
Dora knows the best place to explore is the forest.
She knows this monkey? Of course, she knows this monkey.
Experience nature, connect with family,
You guys.
and find your own adventure. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest or park near you.
Police are still looking for the motive of 51-year-old Anthony Farrell following Wednesday's mass shooting at the Molson Coors Brewery in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Police say that Farrell was an employee of the brewery. The shooting left 6 dead, including Farrell, who died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. All 5 victims of the attack were also employees of Molson Coors.
After more than 100 years of shelving, blocking, and neglect, Congress historically approves a bill making lynching a federal crime. Named in honor of Emmett Till, it comes 65 years after the teenager was lynched in Mississippi. The passage comes as a symbolic moment during a time where hate crimes are high. President Trump is expected to sign the bill into law. Landmark developments for the Me Too movement. The Harvey Weinstein trial came to a close Monday afternoon. Reporter Jada Sandu took a look at what it means for sexual assault survivors moving forward.
Today, I stand with my sister Silence Breakers as we celebrate the conviction of our abuser, Harvey Weinstein.
Following a 6-week trial and 26 hours of deliberation, former Hollywood media mogul Harvey Weinstein faces years in prison. He has been found guilty on 2 counts, committing a criminal sexual act in the 1st degree and rape in the 3rd degree. He was acquitted of 2 charges of predatory sexual assault and 1 charge of rape in the 1st degree.
Harvey Weinstein was found guilty today of something we've all known.
Weinstein accusers have taken to Twitter to show support for the women who spoke out against the abuse. But Me Too founder Tarana Burke says while this case was important, she doesn't consider it a victory.
A triumph would be a real examination of how we get a Harvey Weinstein. What kind of accumulation of power does it take to have somebody commit the kind of crimes that he's committed for 20 and 30 years?
So many people were damaged and hurt, and there are so many victims along the way, right? This is a victory in that we've had other cases where someone gets off scot-free, right, or it isn't even taken to court at all.
So what does this mean for the Me Too movement and survivors of sexual crimes moving forward?
We need to strengthen laws. We need to ban non-disclosure agreements. All kinds of laws need to be strengthened. So
this is a moment where survivors will be heard and will be seen, and in cases like this will even be believed. And I think that's very important for how we progress in the movement.
Weinstein will receive his sentence on March 11th. Until then, he will be held at Rikers Island. Weinstein's attorney, Arthur Idala, says they plan on appealing the case.
He's confident in the appellate judicial system that he will be exonerated.
As of now, Weinstein faces up to 29 years in the New York prison. But he also faces possible convictions in Los Angeles for 4 other charges. For Chapman News, I'm Jada Sandu.
Shortly after the conviction, Weinstein was taken to Bellevue Hospital for heart palpitations. After his hospital release, it is expected that he will be sent to a special facility for inmates who are in need of additional medical supervision.
And an update on a story we've been following. This year's interterm travel course to the Shambhala Mountain Center in Colorado was canceled due to concerns raised in our Chapman News report. We spoke to students and faculty about this change of plans.
As detailed in our report, a student claims she was sexually harassed by a Shambhala instructor on last year's trip. A year later, we're asking the provost what happened to her Title IX complaint.
And so this was investigated by our Title IX officer in the Human Resources Department and basically had come to a conclusion, but it's only focused on that one incident. So it wasn't an investigation into the bigger picture of what was going on at this center.
This conclusion is news to the student, who says she was never contacted by any investigator about her claim.
Last semester, Chapman News told faculty about the Sheriff's Department's investigation into possible criminal activity at the center. But students on the course and the provost say they had no idea about that investigation until they watched our report.
That's when we suspended the course this year.
Chloe Pace was one of the students on the course this year.
I mean, I think this school made the decision for the better, like for the safety of the students, but immediately I was really bummed.
Although Pace was disappointed not to go on the travel course, she says they still studied meditation locally.
We did get to do like a makeup course that was located in Orange County, so I still did get the experience.
As a result of the incident highlighted in our piece, Chapman launched an internal investigation into safety procedures on courses like this.
We don't necessarily have all the things in place that we should have. That was what was the outcome of the internal auditor's report, is we need to have more controls in place.
The provost says there is a task force working on creating detailed policies for how to properly respond to these incidents in the future.
While the 2020 trip was canceled, the future of the course is up in the air. The provost saying he wouldn't be opposed to sending students back to the center, but he would only do so if he knew students would be safe. For Chapman News, I'm Olivia Young.
Over the summer, the university will be deciding what interterm travel courses will be offered next year. And we have Flo Singer in our Weather Center with the 5-day forecast. Flo?
Thanks, Kim. Right now in Orange, it is currently cloudy and 83 degrees with 19% humidity. So for Orange, I would say that's pretty humid, and plus the warm weather we're starting to see from these past couple of days. So as you're making your Friday plans, make sure to dress light and comfortable if you're going to be outside today. Now let's take a look at that SoCal forecast for this week, starting with Santa Barbara. Our high is 73, Los Angeles 85, Avalon 77, Anaheim 85, Oceanside 79, San Diego 78, Big Bear Lake 56, and Palm Springs 84. Now let's take a look at our Orange County forecast with Westminster. Our high is 81. Along the coast, Newport Beach 77, Laguna Beach 76, San Clemente 75. Orange, our high today is 76 degrees. Or Irvine 84 and Mission Viejo 82. Now let's take a look at our 5-day forecast for this week. Like I said, today it is cloudy with a high of 86 degrees and low of 54. Saturday, tomorrow will be sunny with a high of 72 and low of 53. Sunday, we can expect some wind with a high of 64 and low of 46. And come Monday and Tuesday, we're going to have all around beautiful weather with sunny and high of 69 and low of 46 on Monday, and high of 72 and low of 49 on Tuesday. Well, that was the weather forecast for this week. I'm Flo Singer. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
How will movies be affected by the coronavirus? Coming up on Entertainment.
And the baseball team is still #1 in the country. An update on the team coming up after the break.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Hello everyone, I'm Carissa Davis and welcome to the Best Campus Sports Show. This week, the celebration of life for Kobe and Gianna Bryant was held at the Staples Center, and thousands of fans and friends gathered to share their memories and respect for one of basketball's greatest ambassadors. Jared Brosnan was there on Monday, who has more.
On 2/24, the numbers worn by Gianna and Kobe Bryant, Los Angeles and the sports world gathered in the Staples Center to hear from Kobe's widow and Gianna's mother, Vanessa Bryant, who gave a powerful eulogy about the people in her life she loves most.
He always told the girls how beautiful and smart they are. He taught them how to be brave and how to keep pushing forward when things get tough. Mommy, Natalia, Bianca, Capri, and Daddy love you so much, Gigi. I will miss your sweet handmade cards, your sweet kisses, and your gorgeous smile.
Among the other speakers were Kobe's idol Michael Jordan and greatest teammate in Shaquille O'Neal.
When Kobe Bryant died, a piece of me died. And as I look in this arena and across the globe, a piece of you died, or else you wouldn't be here.
The day Kobe gained my respect was the guys were complaining. Said, Shaq, Kobe's not passing the ball. I said, I'll talk to him. I said, Kobe, there's no I in team. And Kobe said, I know, but there's an in me in that motherfucker.
Los Angeles may have lost two of its brightest stars, but they will always be shining down on us. For Chapman News, I'm Jared Brosnan.
What can I say? Mamba out.
The Mamba and Mambacita Sports Foundation has been set up in their honor to further the development of children through sports. Here at Chapman, the basketball season has come to an end with neither the men's or women's team qualifying for playoffs. It was a disappointing season for the Panthers, to say the least, despite finishing the season with a winning record. The men went 7-9 in conference to finish 6th, while the women finished 5th with an 8-8 record. Two women have been named all-conference, with senior Lucy Criswell making the first team and sophomore Juliana Campas making the second team. This will be the first season the women have missed the playoffs since joining the SCIAC. On a more positive note, the baseball team is defending its national title very well. The Panthers remain the #1 ranked team in the country following its 2-1 series against Laverne. Juniors Nick Garcia and Hank Zeisler are repeat SCIAC Athletes of the Week for baseball. Garcia has yet to allow an earned run on the season, and Hank Zeisler already has 5 home runs in only 10 games. The team plays in just a few hours at Cal Lutheran and will play a doubleheader tomorrow at Hart Park. 2 new Chapman records have been set following the SCIAC championship meet. The women finished 3rd in conference while the men finished 7th, and a few Panthers made the podium. The most notable performance comes from the weekend comes from junior Will Crew, who set the record for 100 backstroke with a time of 49.96 seconds. He is Chapman's first male to win a SCIAC individual event.
I'm here with Will Crew, who just set a new record for Chapman this week. And today we're going to be collecting ping pong balls by backstroking. Let's go. You are Chapman's first male to win a SCIAC title for an individual event. Was this something that you were striving for?
It was definitely a goal of mine. Ever since freshman year, I kind of set that goal for myself coming in. But this year, definitely, I was trying my best not to put any pressure on myself, because I swim best when I am not in my head.
Where's the net? You actually won by 1/100th of a second. What was going through your mind when that happened?
Ooh, I was just very happy that I have freakishly long arms, because I was able to reach a little farther than the guy I was racing. So sometimes I'm just like, did I really win that? That was so close. Like, I don't believe it.
Almost there. I bet I can beat you. Backstroking over there. You want to race?
Yeah. So when I was 4 years old, my dad decided to throw me in a pool, and I've been swimming ever since competitively. So this is my 16th year swimming, so it's been a journey.
I won! Well, I clearly need to work on my backstroke. For Chapman News, I'm Gianna Gravelisi.
And I'm Will Crew.
And this has been another edition of Athlete of the Week.
Well, that's the latest in sports this week, you guys. Jules is up next with entertainment. Coming up, more on the Kobe Memorial. We'll take a look at some breathtaking performances.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Welcome back, you guys. And Jared, what a great report on the beautiful memorial of Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna. A few more standout moments were definitely performances from Beyonce, Alicia Keys, and Christina Aguilera. The powerhouses performed what they claimed were some of Kobe's favorites and changed the lyrics to celebrate the late basketball star. I've watched these performances over a dozen times now, and I get chills every time. What a beautiful way to honor their friend. And also giving me chills are these new updates on the coronavirus. And with China being the second biggest market for movies, we can't forget about their booming film industry. So far, over $1 billion in box office sales have been lost, with China closing 70,000 theaters since last month. And Disney is definitely feeling the pressure, as they are unclear if theaters will reopen in time for the March release of their new live-action Mulan film. Former CEO Bob Iger claimed that China could easily be the film's biggest market after Walt Disney Studios spent $200 million on the film. Wait a second. Former CEO? Yep, you heard me right. After a 15-year run, Iger is now passing the torch to a different Bob Chapman, who previously served as chairman of Disney Parks, Experiences, and Products. Iger will assume the role of executive chairman until the end of next year. Bob Iger and Mickey Mouse may be breaking up, but guess who's getting back together? Everyone's favorite 90s sitcom game, the cast of Friends. The reunion will be available on HBO Max when the service debuts in May, along with all 10 seasons of the show. The 6 original cast members could make up to $4 million for their brief appearance, according to a Variety report, which is probably why Jennifer Aniston has been on an Instagram frenzy, posting photos to tease the highly anticipated special. But don't worry, because you don't have to wait until May for season 12 of Drag Race, which airs tonight at 8. And this season has some real charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent, with an all-star cast of guest judges, including Jeff Goldblum, AOC, Whoopi Goldberg, and Nicki Minaj. Oh my gosh, I can only imagine what it was like on set with all of those personalities. And I know it's been a while since the last season, so to get you in the mood for tonight, reporter Nina Hatton went to the annual drag show right here at Chapman.
Lights, dramatic wigs, and sickening shoes. That's what it takes to put on the perfect drag show. And for the 9th year in a row, Chapman has done just that. inviting queens from the hit show RuPaul's Drag Race to giving student drag queens the chance to strut their stuff in front of a large audience. The annual show has become a highly anticipated event for Chapman students.
No, I actually performed in the drag show last year. I really love it.
Peachy Queen killed it on the catwalk, and Chapman's drag show has given them the opportunity to perfect their craft before taking their drag career to a professional level.
Growing to be more comfortable with exploring new things and new sides of myself.
But Peachy wasn't the only one who sissed their strut. Drag show vet Skunky Sweet gave it his all hosting the event. But this night was more than just a performance. It was an opportunity to open people's eyes to the world of drag.
To get more students aware of what we do. You can do drag on a stage, you can do drag in your bedroom, you can do it in Denny's like they said. So you can just take the party wherever you go.
For Chapman News, I'm Nina Hatton. Back to you, Jules.
Some of those student queens look like they could probably make it on the show. And speaking of stars who have been on the show, LGBTQ activist and former judge Lady Gaga is also having a big weekend, as her new song, Stupid Love, is trending all over social media. Her little monsters are just ecstatic as it is her first single release in 3 years. Well, you guys, I gotta call Lady Gaga and see if she wants to watch season 12 of Drag Race with me tonight. I'm Jules Rector, and that was your entertainment enlightenment for this week.
Thanks, Jules, as always. And before we go, come see an annual Chapman University tradition. The Vagina Monologues are this Friday and Saturday. Residence Life and First Year Experience have partnered with the student organization Cross the Line for this year's production. Tickets are only $8, and 90% of the proceeds will go to Casa Teresa.
You did hear that right. Yes.
I am clearing my weekend, that's for sure. No more plans for me.
Don't miss another episode of Chapman News, and check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Chapman News.
And of course, follow all of our social media accounts at Chapman News.
I'm Anna Montemore.
And I'm Kim Becker. You guys have a wonderful weekend. We will see you next Friday.
Woo.